How's it going, everyone? It's Hobby from Morrisville 5000 today. It's January 25th, 2021, and today we're going to focus on the major Midwest and Northeast snowstorm that could bring up to a foot of snow in some areas, as well as a potential major mid-Atlantic and Northeast snowstorm, or maybe even a blizzard, because this is going to be have a lot of strong winds with it, and also bring large waves and potentially blizzard conditions as a result, since has the potential of dumping a lot of snow in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast. But before I begin, make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. So let's begin by first taking a look at this first snowstorm that we've been tracking for pretty much the past week, and it's pretty much the impacts for you guys in the Midwest, such as Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa, are pretty much right at your doorstep at this point. And this low pressure system is forming very rapidly at this point, and it's moving gradually to the north and east, and eventually, while it's all rain right now, it's eventually going to change over to snow in Kansas, and heavy snow at that. So it should be the worst for you guys in Kansas, I would say, right around Monday morning to Monday early afternoon, where you guys should see the heaviest bands of snow in Kansas, where snowfall rates could be equivalent to 1 to 2 inches per hour in some areas. And you see that by early Monday morning, Kansas is already beginning to see the heavier snow bands. So right around your rush hour all throughout Kansas and Nebraska, it's going to get conditions are going to deteriorate very quickly, and it's going to just be, and the driving conditions are just going to be dangerous. And I advise that you guys stay indoors for Monday, because this definitely is something it is going to be major, since snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour is possible from this storm. You see the darker blues, which represent very heavy snow, especially along this trough that's located right around Kansas and Missouri at this point. And you see that it's affecting a lot of western Kansas and as well as southern Nebraska. And for the most part, Kansas City will remain out of this storm, mainly because the storm is shifting a little bit too far northward to allow a lot of the colder air into Kansas City. And the low pressure is going to be too close in proximity to Kansas City. And what that means is that there's going to be a lot of convergent energy right around Kansas City, and that convergent energy will convert into work, and that work will convert into a higher temperature. So as a result, Kansas City will miss out on most of the snow. However, initially speaking, during the beginning of the storm, it should get some snowflakes falling before a lot of that rain comes in and a lot of that warm air comes in from the eastern and southern side of this low pressure system. However, outside of that, there shouldn't be much of a chance for snow for you guys. Maybe if you're lucky on the back side of this storm early on Tuesday, you might see some snow, but for the most part, Kansas City shouldn't miss out on it. But that's far from the case if you're in central Kansas and southeastern Nebraska, where over a foot of snow is expected currently, with snowfall rates up to 1 to 2 inches per hour. And this should be the worst for you guys in southeast Nebraska, right around Omaha, I would say Monday afternoon. And this extends to the nighttime, 8 p.m. The snow is still right around Nebraska. And for Iowa and Des Moines, the thing is with Des Moines now, the forecast of snow has increased from yesterday, and it's as a result of pretty much a gradual shift with the forecast models, such as the European and the GFS, where both the computer models shifted their forecast a little bit more northward than anticipated, as they were detecting this low pressure system to move a little bit faster and formed a little bit quicker than initially anticipated. So the strong ridge so it'll be able to take more advantage of the strong ridge that's towards southeast United States. And as a result, since the ridge is stronger, the storm's going to move a little bit more northward than anticipated. It isn't anything major. Like, it's not like in the Twin Cities, you're now all of a sudden going to be experiencing over a foot of snow. The shift is very small, I would say, only several miles to the north. However, like I keep saying, any small differences in the forecast can make a big difference in what type of impacts you'll see and how much impacts you'll see. So I would say right around Monday night should be the worst in Iowa and Des Moines, where you could see heavy snowfall and heavier snowfall than anticipated now. And Chicago should begin to see the snow late Monday and into early Tuesday, where it should be the worst for you guys in Chicago. And then you might start seeing the first bouts of snow in the Northeast, I would say right around Monday night, and then headed into very early Tuesday overnight. However, one thing that's interesting with the new forecast is that now New England is expected to get more impacts from this storm because of the shift further northward. And since there's a shift further northward, that means more of the snow is more likely to impact New England rather than the mid-Atlantic states, which the computer models were favoring in the earlier runs. But now it seems like this storm might bring more impacts to New England than, let's say, the mid-Atlantic states such as New Jersey, the Philadelphia metropolitan area, and even as far south as Maryland and Delaware. So in southern Jersey and right around the Philadelphia metro area, just south of that, it's currently expected to be mainly a rain event for you guys because of the shift further northward. So you guys will miss out on most or majority of the snow from the storm if you're, I would say, just south of the Interstate 78 corridor or just south of the Philadelphia metropolitan region. So more of the impact should be headed towards New England. So you guys in New England need to watch out for this. The forecast has shifted to where it's going to impact and target you guys even more. And 3 to 6 inches is possible all throughout New England from this storm. And in terms of the timing of this, you should expect this storm to be right around your doorstep late Tuesday night, where you should see the heaviest snow. So keep that in mind. Tuesday afternoon to Tuesday night, and right around New York City metropolitan region, it could come as early as Tuesday morning and Tuesday right around early afternoon. And then for New England, it should be the worst for you guys right around Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night. So in terms of the total snowfall forecasted, or what I'm forecasting based off of what both of the computer models are saying, I didn't make any, like I said, there aren't any major differences from yesterday's forecast. However, there is at least a noticeable shift up north when it comes to the snowfall total for the snowfall accumulation forecast, where the areas that might have been in the 6 to 12 inch category are now, it might be the snowfall accumulation might be as low as 1 to 3 inches now if you were in the 6 to 12 inch category or borderline along 6 to 12 inch category, thanks to the shift up northward just a couple miles. And it really goes to show that any small differences in the forecast can make a major difference in how much snow you receive, especially on the southern end of the snowfall accumulation forecast spectrum, where it's going to be a very close call for you guys along this border right around the rain snow line, which is always difficult to forecast even with today's technology and even with more experience of the computer models. But you see that I did make some minor tweaks. I wouldn't say minor, because some of the tweaks that I did in this forecast model can make a big difference in what you'll experience. And what really shows us is the New England forecast, where yesterday there was pretty much little to no snowfall accumulation forecast at all for New England, because obviously no snow was initially forecasted for this storm. But now you see that I shifted the 3 to 6 inch category further to the east right around New England because of the shift of the computer models taking more snow to New England. So you guys should definitely prepare for at least a decently sized snowstorm in New England, which could cause potentially dangerous travel conditions, even if it isn't as much as, let's say, 6 to 12 inches like you're going to see in the Midwest, or 12 to 24. It still could cause havoc on the roads, especially if that snowfall drops down fast. Even if it isn't a lot of snow, it's still enough to at least cause some more to cause more dangerous driving conditions in New England. And then you see that 3 to 6 inches is also expected in upstate New York, a lot of Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia. And then you see 1 to 3 right around New Jersey. And I pretty much shifted the snowfall, the 1 to 3 inches, a little bit more northward, because the snow is now expected to be a little bit more northward than initially anticipated. So that's one shift you guys got to keep in mind. Right around the mid-Atlantic states like northern Delaware and southern Jersey, and just south of Philadelphia pretty much, it's unlikely you'll receive maybe more than an inch of snow, I would say, because there's just going to be too much warm air. And it seems like it's mainly going to be a rain event for you guys, because like I said, the low pressure is a lot further up northward. So you guys in the southern areas, mid-Atlantic states, are going to experience more of a southerly flow with this storm. And this low pressure, since it's moving northward, it's going to force the jet stream further up northward, and it's going to bring a lot of that warm air too far to the north to really bring much of any snow just south of the Philadelphia metropolitan region. And as for the Midwest, it's mostly the same. However, I think Des Moines should expect 6 to 12 inches of snow. The 12 to 24 inch category didn't change much. So if you were in the 12 to 24 inch category but in the last run, then chances are you still are within the 12 to 24 inch category when it comes to snowfall accumulation. So that's definitely major, and do not let your guard down at all just because of the shift of the forecast, because for the most part it will be a major snowstorm for you guys and life-threatening if you don't take the right precautions. Just because you are in the 6 to 12 inch category does not mean you will miss out on the biggest impacts, because 6 to 12 inches of snow is still considered a major snowstorm, especially for the Midwest, where you don't typically see those types of snowstorms every day, even during the winter. And you see that 6 to 12 for Chicago, and Detroit, maybe around 3 to 6, more so 1 to 3, I would say. Cleveland, Ohio, 1 to 3, and for just northwest of Kansas City, you should experience 6 to 12 inches of snow. However, for Kansas City itself, it should mainly expect right around 3 to 6 inches. I don't expect much snow from this in Kansas City, since it's going to be, the snowfall accumulation is going to fall mainly too far up north for you guys to really get in on much of the action when it comes to the total accumulated snowfall. And Dodge City should still expect 6 to 12 inches of snow, so a major snowstorm threat for you guys. And I want you guys to take precaution, to stay safe. I don't want you guys potentially risking your lives out there going out. As I advise, just stay home, because it's just going to be a major snowstorm for you guys. And I wish you guys the best if you're within the Midwest and even the Northeast, where, well, I'm in the Northeast, so I wish myself the best as well. But especially for the Midwest, where it's gonna just be a much more major snowstorm for you guys. Over 6 inches of snow is considered major, and just could bring dangerous driving conditions, and could bring us out some power, even despite the lack of winds with the storm. But I know you're also looking at this storm where I listed Storm 2, where we see low pressure just off the coast of the mid-Atlantic states like North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. And you see that I listed strong winds and large waves as well. And this isn't associated with this first snowstorm, since, like I said, this first snowstorm won't really bring much in terms of gusty winds with it, since there isn't enough unstable air or enough of a pressure gradient between a ridge and this trough to really create a lot of those strong winds. However, this storm, the second storm that is expected to move into the mid-Atlantic states headed into late this week, could bring that possibility of extremely strong winds and large waves, since it's expected to grow into a very powerful storm and much more powerful than this first snowstorm. However, the big question remains is this powerful snowstorm be close enough or really have enough cold air to bring a major snowstorm to the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic states. And you see that I listed heavy snow possible, with possible being in capitalization, because I want to emphasize that this could easily just not be major at all. And there's still that possibility that it only brings maybe an inch or less of snow to the Mid-Atlantic states and maybe brings strong winds and large waves along with it. However, in this channel, I always want to list out all the possibilities, and we're going to determine what needs to happen for that possibility to occur. And I want you guys at least keep in mind of this possibility, because I don't want to give you guys the forecast like 2 days out just before you guys could prepare. So I just want you guys to keep this storm in mind. So let's take a look at what the GFS model is saying with the storm number 2, I'm gonna call it. And you see that there's a 999 millibar storm just off the coast, pretty much hugging the North Carolina coast at this point. And you might be thinking that isn't much more stronger than the snowstorm we're going to experience right now in the Midwest and the Northeast. And while that's true for the time being, you're going to see that storm really begins to strengthen just off the East Coast, and it really begins to strengthen even further as it heads more and more out to sea. And you might be thinking that, well, even if this does grow stronger, it's going to go out to sea, so it might not matter. However, I wouldn't make that assumption or prediction just yet, because there's still a lot of uncertainty with this storm, because there's still that chance it takes a little bit further track a little bit further northward, and as it does so, it strengthens to a 970 millibar storm and brings major impacts on the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. And also, however, there's also that possibility that it just moves out to sea. And what really will determine where the storm goes and how much snowfall accumulation you'll receive really all depends on the position of the jet stream. Because as you can see, this is the so let's move to around 6. So this is the first snowstorm I'm talking to you guys about, going to move through the Northeast, obviously. However, the second snowstorm is going to be more interesting. So you're going to see that headed into, so this is the first trough that's going to expected to move into the Mid-Atlantic states. And you see there's a little bit of, you see the oranges, which represents a higher geopotential height. And if you don't know what that means, it's pretty much a height at which the air pressure is at 500 millibars. And if the height is a little higher, and if the 500 millibar air pressure height is a little bit higher than usual, then that typically means that there's a high pressure over that area, because obviously when there's high pressure, the air pressure is a lot more stacked. It's a lot taller since the air pressure is high. So in the oranges, just look at it as ridges, and at the blues, just look at it as troughs, since obviously in a lower pressure, the air pressure is less stacked and less tall as a result. So it's a lot. So to find 500 millibar air pressure, you don't need to go as high as, let's say, for a ridge. So here's the trough right here, and the thing I'm gonna take a close look at is how strong will this ridge be right around southeast, because if it's a little bit stronger, then that will force the jet stream to pretty much shift its position from primarily west to east direction to more of a little bit of a dip, where the jet stream positions itself in a way that pretty much promotes more southerly winds, which would push the storm more to the north and potentially bring that major snowstorm to the northeast. However, if it's as weak as it is forecasted to be now or even weaker, then it's less likely that the jet stream will take up. It's less likely that the jet stream dip will be pronounced, and as a result, the jet stream will mainly be straightened out and pretty much steer the storm directly to the east rather than to maybe the northeast like a jet stream dip would do. So we just gotta keep in mind of this ridge that's gonna build over the southeast, and we just need to see how it positions itself, how strong it will be, and also timing is also important. If this moves a little faster, it's gonna encounter that ridge a little bit earlier, which means that the ridge is going to be stronger at this point and potentially steer more up northward. However, if it moves slower, then the ridge will be long gone, and it's mainly gonna go in the easterly direction. So it's definitely something to keep in mind at this point. And there's also other factors we need to keep in mind. We also need to keep in mind how much cold air there is, because while the GFS does bring a decently sized storm along the mid-Atlantic states, it doesn't bring a ton of snow in this forecast. You do see a little bit of snow in Tennessee and Kentucky. However, if we move forward to when this storm grows stronger, there isn't a ton of snow. There's some snow in the higher elevations, definitely, but it isn't like swallowing up the mid-Atlantic states like North Carolina and Virginia in snow, and it's as a result of the lack of cold air. So we need to see if there's going to be enough cold air with this to really make it more of a snowfall threat for the mid-Atlantic states, and also make it more stronger, because if there's more cold air, there's going to be more unstable air, and that's going to really strengthen this storm and make it a lot more broader to where it affects a lot more people. So we need to keep in mind of how much cold air there is, and that really depends on this first snowstorm actually, because if this first snowstorm is a little bit stronger and brings a little bit more brings northwesterly winds a little stronger, then that will push a lot of that Arctic air further south and create more of a jet stream dip to make this storm stronger, and also bring a lot more cold air with to the United States for this storm to work with. So we just need to keep in mind of all the possibilities. This is going to be a tough one to forecast at this point. However, both the GFS and the European aren't taking anything major, I would say, just yet with this storm, as both the computer models are expecting it to be mainly a minor snowstorm, not bring over 6 inches of snow in the mid-Atlantic states, and this is mostly affecting Virginia and West Virginia in the European model's case, and it goes the same for the GFS. So at this point, no major snowfall is expected in the mid-Atlantic or Northeast states. However, there's still a lot of time with this. We're talking about a storm 3 to 4 days out, and there's still just a lot of uncertainty with this storm, and it could potentially be major. However, at the same time, it might not be major at all, so we just have to wait and see. But anyways, guys, I guess that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys stay safe in the Midwest and the Northeast from this incoming snowstorm, and make sure to take precaution as best as possible. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more weather-related content. Make sure to like if you like this video, and make sure to turn on post notifications if you want to see even more weather-related content. And I hope you guys have a good day.